This is a matchup where I'm currently struggling myself quite a bit. I don't seem to be able to string any wins together. There's the occasional link flood or something along those lines where I manage to obtain the victory, but oftentimes it just doesn't go in my favor. So I'm hoping that today's best of 5 series is gonna give me some creative insight. Spawning right here in the top right corner in game number 1 of this best of 5 series, playing with the red Zerg drones, we have a Bly and his opponent, the man I actually thought who would be playing a little bit more macro focused and not the one opening up with a quick spawning pool. We're looking inside of the main base of Elazer. Alrighty, I think we all know by now that Bly is very much so the type of guy who will go for, well, some hyper-aggressive strategies if he needs to. I was looking at some of the replay timers for this particular best of 5, and I noticed there's some long games. And then I noticed there are very short games included in this best of 5 as well. So we'll find out exactly what ended up going down between these two. Generally speaking, I would say the average game of Zerg versus Zerg is probably like 5 to maybe 8 minutes long or so. Usually it's the Ling Bane phase going into the Roach Raviter phase that decides the winner. But for some reason, I think none of the games that we're gonna have a look at today are actually within that time bracket. So it feels like this is gonna be, okay, a very strange series indeed. Bly starts off this particular game with a hatch gas pool, it seems. However, rather than going for link speed, he decides to go for an evolution chamber first. What are we gonna research? Okay, +1 melee. +1 melee with about 20-something gas in the bank as well. Luckily though for him, I think this was mostly a defensive spawning pool right here from... No, it wasn't. Never mind, I was gonna say we only see 2 Zerglings right now sitting on the watchtower. That's because the majority of the links are just sitting on the creep at home, safely tucked away until their metabolic boost upgrade finishes up. This seems like a very serious mismatch right here, where Elazer is gonna... Oh, okay, I think at this point Bly may have realized that something is a little off. Either that or he just goes for a blind spine crawler in each of his games right now. Anyways, it's gonna work out brilliantly because it seems to me that Elazer would just simply have the upper hand. That spine crawler may very well be the key right here to the defense. Alright, now Bly trying to start up a wall since he has spotted the links right now running across the map. He does get it up as well. Obviously not a whole lot of hit points right here on any of these structures, but at the very least, this is gonna give Brenda and Karen over here a little bit of time to shoot some of their spines. You know what? This may actually just be enough. They can always back up to the safety of the ramp over here too. That spine crawler, don't reposition it. Yeah, Elazer is actually droning on the back of this. And you know what? That was excellent right there for the Ukrainian Zerg. Bly is gonna finish up +1 melee together with metabolic boost right around the same time. This is a very strange little timing attack that is lining up right now for the Zerg player. But I guess that's not very descriptive. For the red Zerg player is probably a better way to point this out. The weird thing is though, Elazer has seen a full wall off. I don't know if he got a glimpse of the spine crawler as it was repositioning, but seeing 2 base Zerg, a spine crawler, 3 queens, all of that is a pretty clear indicator that the opponent wants to play a more macro-focused style. Probably 2 base Roach, 2 base Muta, something along those lines. In reality though, Bly does have himself a lot of links. He does have +1 melee. I figured we were gonna go across the map. He hit a bit of a supply block here, which actually really sucks for him. Is he still gonna rush or is he gonna drone right now? No, he decides to fire up drones. Okay. Trying to use that lair as well. Elazer probably clicking on one of his opponent's Zerglings right now. Realizes, wait a second, you've already finished up +1 melee. Luckily though, for our Polish player, he does not yet have a 3rd base taken. So these links in red, I don't think they're gonna be... Well, I mean, there's not really anything to defend here at home either, but I don't imagine they deal that much damage. He hasn't really added on any additional Zerglings though. I actually don't think he clicked on any of the links of the player in red here. Yeah, so he probably did not quite realize that this was indeed a +1 melee attack. I actually think if Bly would have committed to another group of Zerglings, he hit that supply block. I think if he wouldn't have hit that supply block at 44, I think he probably would have made a big round of links to follow this up, and it would have just won him straight up the game. Anyways, not the case here. Instead, we've got a Nidus Worm happening for Bly. We've got a Spire about halfway done right here for Elazer as well. Okay, obviously you need vision in order to pop down a Nidus network. So if you don't, well, have any vision, it's gonna be very difficult. So already, Elazer over here, doing some Overlord kissing here. A little bit of Overlord sniffing over. That's what most animals do as well, okay? Don't judge these Overlords. Don't judge the Overlord in blue. That's how they say hello. He's trying to make sure, yeah, this Overlord over here spotted as well. He's trying to make sure that the opponent doesn't get a lot of vision. Where in the world is that Nidus network going to go? I don't really see any location where I could really catch Elazer off guard. So excellent movement right there by our player in blue. 7 Mutas are coming up too. Now, Mutas, in theory, do counter roaches. And I think in this particular case, okay, they are going to do an excellent job as well. But seeing Mutas going up against roaches is a little bit of an interesting situation. There are many games where roaches actually just simply outswarm the Muta player. Yep, queens are showing up right now. I mean, together with roaches, these queens are actually going to be able to pack a punch. Okay, we're just going to start working on the overlords right away. There's no roach warren or anything available right here for Elazer. I actually think Bly could send some drones across and make spore crawlers. If he's going to go for a slow push with creep, that's probably the play. Okay, I was hoping we were going to see some drones right there in the Nidus Worm, but not quite the case. Lings over here in the meantime fighting one another. Their +1 melee is nice, but Elazer has the numbers. Baneling Nest coming up right now as well for Bly, by the way. I'm not exactly sure. He probably just wants to make a whole lot of roaches and lings. I feel like Mutas are going to be the real problem, though. Elazer has not started up any spine crawlers, which surprises me a little bit. Okay, Lings coming in from the back. Nidus Worm over there does get denied. I actually really think spore crawlers would be amazing. He's making spores at home, but I think offensive spore crawlers, a couple drones through the worm would be amazing. You can't actually walk spines and spores through I get that question from time to time. It'd be insane if you could move spines and spore crawlers through the Nidus Worm. I think Zerg would be a little bit overpowered if that was the case. Some of you might argue that we're already a little bit too strong. Anyways. Good dancing right here, though, by Elazer. Yeah, now he starts up around the spines. He's just trying to grab as many Mutas as possible. Even going for the +1 flyer upgrade, too. That's going to make the Mutas more powerful, and therefore, eventually, he should be able to overwhelm all of these queens. The queens with transfusions are a big problem. They need creep, however, in order to get the transfusions going. I think this timing window here is closed a while ago. I don't see how Bly is going to be able to break his opponent's natural. He still doesn't have a third. He's still fully walled in at home as well. He's just bringing as many queens as he can. I mean, Banelings are still good against clumped up structures, right? So Elazer must have noticed a couple of the Banelings added into the mix here earlier. Mutas in the meantime trying to be annoying. Yeah, he's definitely seen the Banes now. I think you should actually spread out these spines a little bit. Okay, now he's just gonna add an extra layer of spine crawlers. Fair enough. There's a spore. Bly going for a slow push towards his opponent's natural expansion. There we go. Okay, this is what I was talking about earlier. I thought he was gonna go a little bit more, well, aggressive than this. Ooh, we are getting to the point, though. Oh, nice micro. He actually popped the queen back into the worm. I thought we were... Or we are rather getting to the point where Mutas can start one-shotting the queens. So transfusions are nice, but with good target firing, Elazer might just be able to, well, kill all of this relatively easily. Then again, the Muta count really doesn't look that great. 9 queens right here, a couple spores as well, a lot of transfusion energy. It's gonna be nearly impossible, though, for Bly to break this. Roaches are good, but that is so many spine crawlers. At the same time, it's gonna be very difficult for Elazer to break out of this. He snuck out a couple drones here. Okay, he does force the cancel on one of the spores. He did sneak a couple of drones right over here towards the right side, but yeah, the roaches now find this. Lings going on the offensive once again. Elazer still has vision of the opponent's third bases, so he knows that there's none of that going on. We already have another hatchery going up here on the right side, and I actually really do like that. Infestors, by the way, here for Bly. I think the idea of going Infestors is actually very clever. 1 fungal growth, and those Mutas are going to be in so much trouble. Queens, transfusions, fungal growth, chain fungaling, spore crawlers getting underneath. This is a Bly game, to a T. Yeah, have I learned anything so far? Will this help my own ZVP, or my own ZVZ rather? Probably not. Will it help my ZVP? No, it won't either, in case you were wondering. Evo Chamber is gonna finish 1-1 very soon. Elazer has done a lot of damage, but both of these upgrades, I believe, will finish here in the end. Alright, roaches are gonna clear all of this out. Elazer now making his own roaches too, by the way, which I do believe is the right call. We have Hydralisks on... Well, at least we have a Hydralisk den that just finished up. I'm assuming we're going to see Hydralisks on the production tab as well. The problem right here for Bly is that he's running out of resources. So if he makes the assumption right now, his opponent... Nah, he sees it over here, yeah. I was going to say, if he makes the assumption right now that Elazer is also going to run out of money, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Instead, Microbial Shroud? Okay, I have never seen Microbial Shroud. I didn't even consider it. I have never seen Microbial Shroud I'm gonna back up. Microbial Shroud in a Zerg versus Zerg? Really? Sorry, I was looking right there at the one roach. So Microbial Shroud reduces the air to ground damage by 50%. This is only really ever used with Hydras against like Maskytos. It's horrible against Battle Cruisers because Hydras just, yeah, don't live for very long. But I guess Queens with Microbial Shroud is not really something that we have considered. I still don't see how Bly can break it, but at least the mutas can be nullified quite nicely. I was only thinking about Fungal Growth, man. Fungal Growth still a really scary ability here. Fungal Growth into Corrosive Biles, into Queens. I mean, there's definitely some potential. Careful, careful, careful. Oof, my god. Yeah, don't get too close. Queen over here providing high ground vision while being transfused. That now allowed those corrosive biles to go off. So Bly does want to rain more biles, but he doesn't have the vision. So Brenda right there had to walk up the ramp. Having an overseer here would be amazing. He's also going burrow right now. He's trying to break this. He's going to go again. Yeah, good corrosive biles right there though from Elazer too. Trying to force his opponent down that ramp. Okay, here we go again. I think this is the moment where he decides to commit. Nice concave right here, though, for the Polish Zerg. That ain't gonna happen, Bly. Really good decision-making here from Elazer. I think it was very tempting to stick around on mutas, but he read that brilliantly. He was looking at that, he's like, you know what? Mutas aren't gonna cut it. My opponent will counter those pretty heavily. But then starting up a Roach Warren when your opponent already has upgrades, they've already got Roach Speed, you're already going +1 Flyer. It does feel very uncomfortable. Only just now is when the Glial Reconstitution is gonna start finishing here for Elazer. Elazer, by the way, does have a bit of mining here on the right side of the map, and that is not to be overestimated. It's only a handful of drones, but yeah, the income advantage is noticeable. There's still no third. Bly is running out of minerals in both the main as well as in the natural. So he just doesn't have a lot of resources anymore. This ramp is the bane of both of these players' existence now. Elazer can't leave his own base, but Bly also can't go into his opponent's base. Yeah, I think he's just hoping for a lucky chain fungal, something along those lines. It certainly is possible, but I think the window is closing, and now with that army in red backing off, Elazer decided, yo, this is the time where I am going to move forward. He decides to jump this. There are more fungal growths available, but we haven't really seen them yet. Instead, we're seeing a burrow. He's just biling anywhere he can, yeah. We see a burrow to try and sneak some of those units away. Tunneling claws for the roaches is not done yet, but infestors, they can... Well, the queen is definitely never gonna... Ooh. Okay, yeah, the queen is never gonna get away. Anyways, the infestors can use tunneling claws without having it researched. They can use it whenever they like. One little roach over here trying to be a nuisance. Looks like Elazer is on top of that as well. And this is definitely one of the strangest games of ZVZ I've ever seen. I think in the end, though, it is quite obvious that the supply count is heavily in favor of Elazer, who, by the way, I do think is the favorite going into this this game in general. I haven't seen a lot of Bly's games, and I think that's because he's taken a pretty long break from the game. I mean, I'm sure he had other things to worry about. Anyways, don't really want to get into that in this particular video, but Elazer certainly, my god, once again, dude. Fungal Growth, Microbial Shroud on Hydras against mutas. This is... I've kind of missed watching Bly play. Nobody plays like this. Like, there are some players out there that play spicy games of StarCraft, right? Mio Maika comes to mind. Eric has been showing us the way over the last couple of months, but Bly certainly has a very unique approach. Like high-level StarCraft, top-level StarCraft in particular, It's basically all the same strategies over and over and over again, right? With some minor deviations here and there. And you get to the point where you sort of assume that that is the only way that StarCraft should be played. And while Bly isn't quite somebody who I would put in the top 10 at the moment, he certainly wins against players that are really freaking good at the game. Like, he is still the 0.00001% of the top level players, right? Like, he's still incredibly good at the game. He's still winning against some of the best in the world, playing the craziest strategies. And in a way, it's really cool to me, because it's really tempting to just look at Serral's gameplay and assume, yep, that is the way that Zerg is supposed to be played. And it probably is, but it's not the only way that Zerg can be played. Anyways, Bly, of course, very well known for his creative gameplay, but also his GG timings. He's still on 2 bases against a 4-base Zerg. He's behind in upgrades, but the man has a dream. You never know, maybe Elazer disconnects. Maybe we have to rehost this game. I think at that point, this is from the ESL Masters. I think at that point, the referee would probably decide that Elazer was the victor. And indeed, game number 1 is gonna go in his favor. Game number 2, we find ourselves on the map Babylon. Either Bly is AFK or has decided to not make any drones, and judging by the fact he's sending the Overlord, I don't think he's AFK. Alright, Elazer going for a standard opener here, it seems. Bly going for the fastest possible spawning pool. Now, there are a couple of macro variations to this particular build. You can go 12 pool into 17 hatch, for example. On the flip side, you could also go for a 12 pool and then pool all of your drones. I'm not exactly sure which version this is going to be right here from Bly. He's certainly capable of playing them all. For basically everybody out there, if it's the drone pool variant, if Elazer decides to go for a hatchery first, which he does, this would be a build order loss. However, at the absolute highest level of StarCraft 2, there was that one game, I think this was StarCraft 2 World Championships, where Serral showed us, yo, 12 pool versus hatch first. I think Serral even went hatch gas pool, like 16 hatch, 18 gas, 17 pool in that particular game. Serral still looked absolutely okay, and he made the opponent look like a bit of a fool. Yep, no, we are gonna go for the drone pool variant. A little bit of an early drone pool, though. I was gonna say, you usually want to wait for at least a little bit until the lings are out. That was unnecessarily sloppy. Anyways, lings are gonna indeed be joined right here with the drones, or maybe I should say that the lings are gonna be joining the drones, because there's a whole lot more of them. Elazer does not quite get the vision yet. Okay, so Bly is saying... Look at this. He's created the train. Yeah, at some point it will be spotted. Elazer sees this right now. Crisis management. Here we go. What exactly are we gonna do? This is what Serral did in that game as well. I think this was Serral versus Ragnarok, if I recall correctly. Anyways, what you do is you create a round of Evo chambers to prevent the opponent from building spine crawlers on your creep. I mean, you can still go all the way around, but this is buying so much time for Elazer right now to get his own spines going, and hopefully a bunch of Zerglings too. Alright, so you can cancel these Evos here eventually. I don't think it's a bad choice, but you need to be so careful right now. The micro needs to be perfect. Another one of those games, man. I have learned absolutely nothing so far in this particular series, other than the fact that, while Bly is still playing some crazy games of StarCraft, only 2 spines, by the way. I wonder if that's due to the fact that, no, he's got the minerals for it. I was wondering maybe if it was because he pulled those workers a little bit too early. We do have a lot of lings engaging the drones in blue right now. One of the spines does get cancelled. Queen is not out yet. Spines in blue also not done yet. As long as Elazer lives, though, with like 4 of his drones intact, he is gonna be able to macro his way out of this. And I believe this is A-okay right here for the Polish Zerg. For the average StarCraft player, this type of strategy, when you're going hatch first, it's a build order loss. But when you know what you're doing and you're really good at microing your units, it can indeed still be a victory. Alright, real quick, in case you haven't seen that game that I was referencing. This is a match that was played at the StarCraft 2 World Championships back in February. Serral versus Ragnarok. Ragnarok decided to go for a 12 pool, and Serral went for a hatchery into a gas geyser into a spawning pool. And this is some of the most beautiful defense that I've ever seen. So this, for many years, was considered to be a build order loss. I've already casted this game, by the way. You may have already seen that video, but it's still beautiful. So first off, 3 of these Evo chambers go down right here for Serral. Spine crawlers do begin right here as well for Ragnarok. It's 3 of them. That's normally what you do. Bly ended up only going for 2. Then Cyril decides to stack up all of the drones together. Sort of like Florencio used to do, and he gets the snipe on a couple of the opponent's workers. Then we're doing a little bit of a dance while a small clump of the units has been split off to go after all of those spine crawlers. He deals a bit of damage to some of the units here, but he's mostly just trying to buy time. So Cyril, by the way, not opting to make any defensive spines. Instead, he's just making as many links from the natural as well while, you know, he's trying to defend here inside of the main base. And in the end, this defense... I mean, Cyril ends up losing 3 workers more than his opponent, but he ends up with 14 drones left over versus only 2 for Ragnarok. Alright, back to our regular best of 5. At this point, Elazer is leading the series 2-0. So if Bly wants to obtain the victory, he's gonna have to win 3 games in a row. He did start off this game by making a drone, and then he cancelled it, and now he's still gonna go for a 12 pool. Yeah, because it worked out so well for you in the previous game, huh? I don't think Bly was too happy with the execution of that previous match, though. He sent the drones a little bit too early. He only made 2 spines on his opponent's creep. I think he looked at Elazer's defense. He was like, you know what? I don't think that's the way you want to do it. So we are once again actually on Ancient Cistern. It is going to be a hatch first. I think Elazer should actually position his spawning pool aggressively, because it basically saves you an Evo chamber. Not the biggest of deals. I mean, I'm sure Elazer has practiced against 12 pools. Is he gonna go for a hatch into a gas into a pool as well? If he's gonna make one more drone here, yep. That is exactly what the plan is. Is Bly going to pull the boys? That's the question. Okay, Link started up. 6 links right away. He, yep, is selecting drones right now. I think we're once again gonna send them across. This time around at the appropriate time though, yeah. Oh. 5 minerals! No, don't let him go to waste! Oh, man. We have the manager drone over here. The overseer. The foreman. Carrying a peace offering. Alright, anyways, he also got spotted, by the way, by the second overlord, right? So that also kind of sucked. Elazer is not gonna see much until these units get to his side of the map right over here. Or maybe right over here. I can't believe he's doing this twice in a row, man. That's so funny. Also, so cheesy. Alright, Elazer, here we go again. Yeah, no. Do you have enough time? He does have enough time. Okay. Hatchery gets cancelled. 4 Evo chambers do begin. 5 Evo chambers do begin. He has to go all the way around. Okay, Elazer. Is your micro as good as Cyril's? That's the question. So, the hatchery gets cancelled and we decide to go for spines in the main base. Cyril, again, was making links from the natural expansion instead. So, this is a bit of a different approach. At this point, I don't like this all too much yet. Obviously, there was also some miscontrol from Ragnarok in that game we watched. First, spine crawler right there from Elazer does get cancelled. Couple of links right here for the player in blue also gets sniped. 4th spine crawler coming up. Okay. We've left 3 drones at home, so apparently we've got enough money. There's Brenda! The queen reincarnated again. We're gonna immediately uproot the spines, though. Look at the spines fighting the spines. Yeah, no, this is amazing right here for Bly. I mean, he obviously still needs to win the game. But whenever your opponent's spines are within the range of your own spines and your spines are rooted before your opponent's spines, you have more spines as well. I think life gets pretty good. Brenda right there ends up going down. Don't worry, she'll be back again very soon in the next game. Because I don't see how Elazer is going to be able to obtain a victory. One advantage of keeping the natural around is that you can also find a new safe place, right? Oh, he's actually going to counter. Oh, really? Is that what we're going to do? Oh, hold up. I thought this game was super over. I think it is super over. So, Elazer still has some money in the bank to make, like, you know, gas geysers, and they do count as structures. The win condition of a game of StarCraft 2 is to destroy all of your opponent's structures, of course. Lings are waiting, though. It's only 3 drones mining the resources. There's a lot more units coming up on the back of this, too. Elazer with the counter spine rush. I don't think this is ever going to work out, though. Nah, this is not good at all right here. But he's tried. It's cute. Countering your opponent's Spinecrawler rush with a Spinecrawler rush on their side of the map. I gotta give credit where credit is due. Well played right there by Elazer, but there can only be one winner, and that winner is Bly. Next up, Gresven. Both players making drones. Are we gonna cancel them? Are we gonna keep them around? I think we're gonna keep them around, okay. As Elazer though, you gotta be wondering right now. The madman has 12 pulled me twice in a row. Is this gonna be the rest of the series? For obvious reasons, a 12 pool dies to any sort of pool verse variant that Elazer could be going for. So if Elazer decides to go for a 16 pool, 17 pool, even like a 13-12 of his own, he'd be an amazing spot, right? He'd be in a fantastic position. I wouldn't mind seeing Elazer play this a little bit more, okay, a little bit more defensively, but apparently he won't. He's gonna be going for a hatchery first once again. And I think in this game, it is indeed the right call, because the opponent has already made a hatchery too on the other side of the map. Okay. A little bit slower right here on the droning though, right? If you look at the worker count right now, I mean, there's some very small deviations there, but Elazer definitely has started up his own workers a little bit quicker. No apparent reason as to why Bly decided to delay some of his. Let's see. Okay, I think this is gonna be a normal game. At least so far. There's still a lot of moments where you can pivot into an all-in. The most notable one will be when the very first larva pop off. So, generally speaking, that very first set of larva that comes out of the first two queens, that set of larva is used for, well, at least some Zerglings, but you can turn it all into Zerglings and basically just go for a full all-in. Usually what you do is you go for the link speed first, with your first 100 gas. I don't know if Bly will do that. In game number 1 he didn't. I think he will in this particular game though. He's a little bit later on the droning right here as well for the extractor, so everything is a little out of whack. He's not actually gonna have 100 gas available by the time that the spawning pool finishes up, which makes all of this a bit strange. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure the timing right there that Bly ended up going for, but it certainly does feel a little bit uncommon. Anyways, for a standard game, we should probably be looking right here at Elazer. So hatch gas pool, 16 supply hatchery, 18 supply gas geyser, 17 supply spawning pool. Mine 100 gas, pull 1 drone out of gas. Then usually you go for about a 21 supply overlord, 1 group of Zerglings, and then a drone that heads on over towards the third base. So you can make that at about 31, 32-ish supply. There we go. Next 50 gas usually goes into a baneling nest. And then after that we see an evo chamber when the baneling nest finishes. And then eventually a lair as well as a roach warren. Okay. So far nothing all too crazy. Other than the fact that Bly has not started up link speed. He's sitting at 200 gas. He's sitting at 400 minerals. And he's sitting at a whole lot of nothing. Like okay. I think he really wanted to wait until that Zergling left his own his side of the map. So he must have wanted to make sure that those Zerglings were not going to be able to bypass the queen before he started up the lair. So this is still a really quick lair though, all things considered. I think that's about a 3 minute and 10 seconds-ish lair. Okay, at this point Elazer scouts the wall off. What do? Well, he hasn't gone for a baneling nest yet. I don't think he cancelled it either, no. I think you probably can skip the baneling nest in this particular game. Yeah, go straight roach warren. He could even go for his own lair and his own evo chamber already if he wants to. It's so difficult though. At this point, yeah, there's the lair. To decide exactly what you want to do. So, he does see the little wiggle right there on the evo chamber. He does see the roach warren, but he cannot see what upgrade is researching. And as you can notice here, this is funky, man. We have +1 melee researching. At the same time, also roach speed has started up. So Elazer can see that these structures are wiggling, but he can't see the upgrade it's actually researching. +1 melee is a pretty clear indicator that Bly wants to go for some sort of muta play. But the roach speed doesn't make any sense, plus the fact that we haven't seen a spire also is a little bit strange. Now we do have a spire coming up. Now we have link speed started up too. So I think he's probably going to end up canceling roach speed? I don't know, maybe he'll keep it around, but I don't see a situation where he actually wants to make roaches in this game. Yeah, so Elazer trying to be as greedy with the drones as possible. He at this point has seen his opponent's upgrades. He assumes this is +1 missile. He assumes that this is roach speed. So if that's the case, if he's got 50 drones and he's making roaches of his own, he's gonna end up with way more roaches than his opponent can have on just 2 bases. Everything that Elazer is doing here makes a lot of sense. He is gonna check for a Nidus Worm just to make sure. A couple of roaches coming across too. Okay. I think he's gonna... Is he gonna let this upgrade finish? I mean, that's 1 Muta, so maybe it's worth it. Okay, he is gonna let that upgrade finish. That honestly surprises me a bit, because I don't think he plans on making any roaches this game. He's, by the way, double expanding now. I don't think he expects both of the expansions to go up. I don't think that Elazer is gonna be expecting any sort of Mutas at this point, though. Links are going to finish up. Oh, it's Elazer going for the Nidus network now of his own. I don't mind it, but already there's vision around the main base. It's only a small group of roaches. I actually really like this little roach squad over here. I've wondered what you should do in these scenarios. This feels like a funky game right now from Elazer's point of view, of course, but +1 melee is done right here on these links. You can see they certainly pack a punch. They can kill all of this easy peasy. Mutas are now out as well, so Elazer must realize exactly what he's playing against. And that 3rd base here on the left side, I don't believe it's been spotted. No, he has seen it now. Okay, he has seen it, but he didn't kill it earlier, so I don't think he's really going to be able to do so either. Nidus network is done. Roach speed starts up right now. I think Elazer wants to go for an all-in, but where in the world are you going to pop the Nidus? I guess over here is the only logical location, but he needs to defend at home as well in the meantime. Spores are started up. More queens are coming up. There's no creep connecting the natural and the 3rd base. Bly, yeah, from not having any map control, now decides to grab it all. A couple of drones ended up going down, 4 of them in total, right there in the main base. Mutas will spot this little Zergling squad. If he can snipe this base, actually, that would be amazing. Yeah, getting the kill on this hatchery would be huge, because Bly has been stuck on 2 bases his entire time. There's another group of links here on the back of this. I think he will get it eventually, to be honest. Yeah, he's trying to wait until those Mutas disappear. Clever little bit of positioning right there by Elazer. As soon as he sees those Mutas popping up elsewhere. So these roaches are bait, man. They don't realize it, but they're just here to die. I'm sorry, guys. They are at the very least gonna help out in the 3rd base department. Queen is gonna go down, hatchery is gonna go down, and this now forces the Zerg in red to be stuck on 2 bases. Well, he's made another 3rd base here on the right side, but at least for now, not a big eco boost right there for Bly. Another queen being caught out in the open. We've got 12 queens available, though. Yeah, that means a lot of transfusion energy. God. Most of the transfusion energy at this point is gone, but at least 2 of the Mutas ended up going down. Actually, we only have... yeah, 1 queen that has popped so far. But that is Bly that ended up losing it to the Zorklings here earlier. I figured Elazer would have lost a queen or 2 by now too, but apparently not the case. So he didn't make any use of the Nidus network. I think he wanted to if his opponent decided to go for a roach push. Hydras are going to be coming up here very soon. But so far, good movement right here with the Mutalisk. Trying to get as much value with those units as possible. Then again though, yeah, on the retreat, 2 of them end up going down. Good targeting there as well by Elazer. Roach counterattack coming across the map. Zorklings over at the opponent's 3rd base as well. Hydras do get scouted right now, but a few of them will be killed. These roaches are going to be kind of terrifying though, because Mutas do take a long time to kill roaches. I wouldn't have minded seeing a couple of roaches split off from the pack, but I guess we're just going to settle for damage in the natural. Okay, yeah, a couple of them will go into the main base. He does see additional Mutas pop. So at this point, this is a very clear indicator that we're going to stick around on Mutaling Bane for a while longer. You wanted to go for a Baneling roll-by, as we do have the Hydras out. Banelings are fantastic against Hydras, but Baneling speed is not going to be done just yet. Bly just backs up for a little bit and morphs the Banes in once again. Roaches will have Tunneling Claws here momentarily. Do they have Burrow? They do. So even though at this point, again, Bly should have full map control, roaches can sometimes still sneak around the map. Some nice transfusions over there. Drones need to run. Okay, 5 drones will sacrifice themselves. Nothing all too crazy. I actually think tunneling roaches right now towards the other side of the map is an excellent option. Yeah, usually when Zerg players that are playing Mutaling Bane are in this scenario, they don't actually have Overseers flying around because they have full control. What could possibly kill them? There's one of them available, but no Overseer speed. If he doesn't know that roaches are tunneling across the map right now and he hasn't seen the spines on those roaches' backs, he could be in a lot of trouble. Because that is a good group of roaches. And the mutas are going to first have to fly home in order to scout this. Yeah. So he's going to see them, I think, when they unburrow. Love the fact that Elazer's being patient. Look at him. Splitting up everything all around the map. In the meantime, we do have the Baneling rollby over here attempted, though. The majority of the Hydras have gone down. Only 5 of them remain. But now the Roaches decide to pop out of the ground. And that is going to be a ton of drone losses right here for the player in a red. Mutas do decently well. Okay. Yeah, the Hydras are trying their best together with the Queens. 18 drones have already gone down, though. And now, finally, the Mutas are going to try and help out. I think the tunneling clawed roaches may have very well put Elazer back on the map in this game. Very good movement. It's a classic. We see this very often in these scenarios, but it's incredibly powerful. Eventually, of course, these roaches, it was a one-way trip. I don't know if they realized it, but eventually they will be cleaned up. Now we have the Queens coming across, by the way, in that Nidus Worm. I was wondering when we were gonna see an attack, but I actually really like this. It's a relatively small group of units, though, from Elazer. So he needs to be careful, but I don't think there's quite enough available. Nidus Worm in the main base, I mean, it's not gonna go up, but at the very least, it's distracted that army for a while. +2 melee is gonna be denied as well. Just about 10-15 seconds before it would have finished up. Are there still enough mutas available, though? That's the real question here. 15 mutas, 6 queens, 7 hydras. I don't think all of those units, though, are over here at the front. There's a couple units that are still inside of the worm, but so much damage is being done. We did have a little Baneling roll by on the right side of the map that I just barely missed. 19 drones have gone down on the side of Elazer as well. But it's not even close to the amount of workers that Bly has lost. Both players taking a tremendous amount of damage. But Bly may be able to stabilize, though. His muta count is still significant. Yeah. I think he'll be okay. This build I actually quite like right here from Bly. Yeah, I think this is the type of strategy I could try and copy in my own games. I don't think he's in a good spot in this game, and I don't see how he's going to be able to obtain the victory. But believe it or not, I am not facing off against Elazer on the daily on the ladder. These are very difficult games to play defensively from the Zerg's point of view, because I actually think these games are probably twice as hard for the player that's defending than it is for the player who's being aggressive. It is so easy to accidentally lose your entire mineral line, or accidentally have your queens exposed, or accidentally lose your hydras. Very impressive stuff right here from Elazer. We still have banelings set up everywhere. But honestly, that's basically all the money that Bly is getting right now. He's only got 6 drones remaining, and they're all inside of the main base. 5 hydras coming up here for Elazer. I think he realizes at this point that the only thing he really needs to do is just deal with his opponent's mutas. Yep, so he decides to continuously push forward. Did we just... Hold up, sorry. We apparently just had those very small groups of banelings deal a stupid amount of... Okay. A stupid amount of damage. Not bad. Those Zerglings left over too, dealing quite a bit of deeps. Quite a bit of DPS. Bly is actually making a game out of this, though. I just don't see how he's going to be able to win. Like, his win condition, that is one thing that's sometimes a little missing in some of Bly's games. Where it's like, yeah, you're dealing a lot of damage. Yeah, you're, you know, taking map control. But, like, what's the actual win condition? At this point, I don't see anything that could allow Bly to win the game. I think his win condition here would be to just have so many mutas that his opponent can't stop him. But Elazer hasn't really gone for any spellcasters yet, right? Like, the ultimate counter to all of these mutas would probably be fungal growth together with parasitic bomb, right? Like, that would be absolutely insane. Elazer hasn't even really transitioned towards that yet because he doesn't believe that he needs it. If the Mutas were really a huge threat, I think he would mix in at least Vipers or Infestors. He doesn't really need both, of course. The Spire right now also exposed. I think we could kill that one. Yeah, and that means the end of the Muta production. Bly in general doesn't have a lot of money, but he does have a couple Mutas and a Dream. One Baneling here too, trying its very best. We're now transfusing the Queens on the opponent's creep. The Mutas are starting to drop out of the skies. And just like that, it's Elazer who obtains the victory 3-1.